My phone.
My phone.
We live in the smartest time in human history, but we're getting dumber by the day. And it's not an accident. Look around. The most viral content isn't the most thoughtful, it's the most shallow. The biggest influencers aren't experts. They're entertainers. The loudest voices aren't the wisest. They're the angriest. Our culture literally rewards people for being shallow and punishes those who try to think deeply. But why? Why does a society with access to infinite knowledge choose ignorance? Why do we celebrate the loud and ignore the smart? Why does shallow always beat deep? Here's what I discovered, and it's going to mess with everything you think you know. This isn't happening by accident. There's a reason our culture rewards shallow thinking. There's a reason deep conversations are disappearing. There's a reason you can't focus on anything complicated anymore. We're going to explore how your brain gets hijacked every time you pick up your phone, why fake experts get more followers than real ones, and how entire industries profit when you can't think clearly. You'll see how the same system that makes you crave likes and hearts also makes you distrust the people who actually know what they're talking about. But here's the thing. Once you see how the system works, you can't unsee it. And I'm going to show you exactly how to turn that knowledge into power, how to reclaim your focus, rebuild your ability to think deeply, and start making choices that are actually yours. By the time we're done, you're going to realize that choice between watching something meaningful or something mindless, you never really had that choice at all. And that's when everything changes. Ready to see why being shallow pays and how to stop paying the price. Last week, I did something that made me question everything. I was supposed to study for an important test. You know, the kind that could actually change my future. I sat down with my books, ready to focus, but then my phone lit up with a notification. Just a quick check, I told myself. 1 minute, then back to studying. That 1 minute turned into 4 hours. 4 freaking hours. I went from checking a text to watching someone rate breakfast cereals while their dog wore tiny hats. My textbooks, still closed. My future, still hanging in the balance. Sound familiar? Here's what I realized was happening to my brain. That first notification wasn't just a message. It was like a tiny hit of my favorite candy. The same good feeling you get when someone says, "I love you," or when you find money in your pocket. My phone had turned into a drug dealer, and I was completely hooked. Think about this for a second. If I went to a casino, I might get that winning feeling once every few minutes if I'm lucky. But my phone? It was hitting me with little rewards every few seconds. A new like on my photo, a comment from a friend, a fresh video. Each buzz designed to make me want more, more, more. But here's what really messed me up. Those notifications weren't accidents. They were planned. Right now, there are teams of super smart people whose entire job is studying people like me. They run tests on millions of users every day. They track where our eyes go. They time how long we stare at stuff. They know exactly when we're most likely to click, share, or buy something. These companies literally hire the same people who help gambling addicts get better, except their job is to make US more addicted, not less. They've turned our phones into the most addictive things ever created. A slot machine can only give you that happy feeling every few pulls. My phone? It delivers that feeling constantly. Every heart, every comment, every new video. It's all designed to keep me scrolling. And man, is it working. I started tracking myself. I pick up my phone about 100 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes I'm awake. I've basically trained myself to have the focus of a squirrel on energy drinks. But here's what really scared me. This wasn't just changing how much I used my phone. It was changing my actual brain. I tried to read a real book the next day. After 5 minutes, I felt restless, bored, like I needed something faster, flashier, more instant. That's when it hit me. My brain had been reprogrammed. It now expected constant rewards, not the slow satisfaction of actually learning something deep. The worst part? I thought I was choosing what to watch. I kept telling myself, just one more video. But I wasn't choosing anything. The app had already decided what I'd see before I even opened it. It wasn't giving me Shakespeare versus cat videos. It was giving me cat videos versus slightly funnier cat videos. This is why that choice between deep thinking and shallow scrolling isn't really a choice at all. My brain had been hijacked by systems designed to keep me clicking, scrolling, buying. Systems that make money when I stay distracted and never actually think about anything important. But who's behind these systems? Who gets rich when my attention span turns to mush? When I can't focus long enough to study for that test or think through real problems? That's where this story gets really wild. So who's getting rich while my brain gets rewired? I found out the hard way, and it's going to blow your mind. Last month, I decided to dig into why I couldn't stop scrolling. What I discovered made me sick to my stomach. I imagined this room somewhere in Silicon Valley. Tech executives in expensive suits staring at massive screens. But they weren't watching movies or sports. They were watching me, and you, and millions of other people, tracking how long I stayed on each video. When I got bored and scrolled away, what made me hit that little heart button? One executive points at a spike in the data and actually smiles. "We kept users engaged 12% longer this quarter," he says. What he really means? We got even better at trapping people like you. That's when it hit me. I wasn't the customer of these apps. I was the product being sold. Think about it. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they're all free, right? So how do they make billions of dollars? Simple. They sell access to my eyeballs, my attention. Every minute I scroll is money in their pocket because companies pay huge amounts just to show me their ads. But here's what really messed me up. I started paying attention to what these apps were showing me, and I noticed something disturbing. The stuff that made me angriest, most worried, most upset, that's what kept popping up in my feed. These companies figured out that angry, scared people click more. So they don't show me the peaceful, helpful content. They pump out whatever keeps me mad, worried, or freaked out, because that keeps me glued to my screen. The algorithm doesn't care if what I'm seeing is true or lies. It doesn't care if it's making my life better or worse. It only cares about one thing. Will this keep me watching? Remember those brain experts I mentioned? I found out their actual job titles: attention engineer, behavioral designer, engagement specialist. Their whole career is built on making people like me addicted. They study brain scans to find my weak spots, then use that knowledge against me. And it's working perfectly. This whole business of stealing attention is worth over $700 billion. That's more money than most countries make in a year. My broken focus, my scattered thoughts, my need to constantly check notifications, someone is getting filthy rich off my misery. But wait, it gets darker. They're not just selling my attention to companies trying to sell me stuff. They're selling it to politicians who want my vote, to foreign governments who want to mess with our democracy. My personal data, what scares me, what I want, what I believe, it's all being packaged and sold to control me. You think I'm being paranoid? The tech executives don't even let their own kids use this stuff. Steve Jobs famously wouldn't give his children iPads. The guy who created the Facebook like button quit social media entirely. They know something we're just figuring out. That choice I thought I was making, between deep content and shallow scrolling, turns out I never really had a choice. The deck was stacked before I even downloaded my first app. My attention was carved up and sold before I knew it had value. And here's the part that really got to me. While these companies get richer and richer off my distracted brain, I'm left feeling empty, anxious, and always needing more. I work harder, but accomplish less. I'm more connected than ever, but feel lonelier than I did as a kid. Why? Because focused people don't click as much. Happy people don't buy as much. People who think deeply don't scroll as much. Content-focused people are terrible for their business model. So while my scattered attention is making them billions, what's happening to my real life? My relationships? My dreams? My ability to solve actual problems? And here's what should really terrify me. I'm not just falling for this trap, I'm helping them perfect it. Okay, so now I know my brain is being messed with and someone's getting rich off it. But here's the question that kept me up at night. Why do I let this happen? Why do I keep coming back for more? The answer is going to hurt, because I had to admit something really embarrassing about myself. 2 weeks ago, I posted a photo of my breakfast. Yeah, I know. Who cares about someone else's toast, right? But I spent 10 minutes making it look perfect. The lighting, the angle, the little sprinkle of everything seasoning arranged just so. Then I posted it with what I thought was a clever caption. And then I waited. I checked back after 5 minutes. 2 likes. I checked again in 10 minutes. Still 2 likes. By the end of the day, I had probably looked at that post 30 times. Each time hoping for more hearts, more comments, more proof that someone, somewhere thought I was worth noticing. That feeling when I finally got a bunch of likes? It wasn't just happiness. It was like someone had just told me they loved me. The same rush people get when they win money or fall in love. And just like someone at a casino, I kept playing, hoping for the next big win. But here's what really messed me up when I thought about it later. I had basically handed my happiness over to complete strangers. My entire mood for the day changed based on how many people liked my stupid breakfast photo. I felt amazing when it got attention. I felt like garbage when it didn't. I had turned myself into a product, and not just any product, one that had to perform constantly to stay relevant. That's when I started noticing something disturbing. Everyone online looked so perfect, so happy, so successful, including me in my own posts, because we're all in this weird competition where the prize is getting other people to like us. So I only showed my best moments. I filtered my photos. I crafted the perfect captions. I became a fake version of myself. The crazy part? I knew everyone else was doing this too. I knew those perfect Instagram lives weren't real. But I still felt terrible when my actual messy life didn't measure up to someone else's highlight reel. And the apps? They were eating this up. I started paying attention to how they worked, and it's diabolical. They don't give you all your likes at once. They trickle them in throughout the day to keep you checking back. Sarah liked your photo. 3 hours later, Mike and 2 others liked your photo. They're literally programming you to be addicted to validation. I also noticed they were showing me posts from people who seemed just a little bit better than me. Just successful enough to make me jealous, but not so perfect that I'd give up trying to compete. It was like they knew exactly how to keep me hooked in this comparison game. Remember those brain experts? They know that nothing hurts worse than feeling left out. So these apps are designed to make me constantly scared of being ignored, forgotten, or not good enough. But here's where I realize how messed up this whole thing is. It only works if I keep playing along. Every time I liked someone's post, I was feeding the machine. Every time I posted something just to get likes, I was training the computer to give me more of the same shallow stuff. I had become a free worker in this giant popularity contest. I created the content, I judged other people's content, I gave them all my personal information, and what did I get back? A temporary feeling of being liked that disappeared the moment I put my phone down. That's when I started looking at my actual friendships. When was the last time I had a real conversation with someone without phones around? When was the last time I shared something honest? Not my perfect fake self, but my actual, struggling, confused, human self. I realized I was more connected than ever, but sharing less and less of who I really was. Because real, messy, complicated people like me don't get as many likes as the fake, polished versions. So that choice I thought I was making, deep stuff versus shallow stuff, well, now I saw another layer. The system doesn't just steal my attention and sell it, it makes me desperate to be liked, then only rewards me for being fake and shallow. I want hearts and likes. I post something simple, pretty, or outrageous. I want real connection. Sorry, that doesn't get views. But what happens to someone like me when I'm spending so much time pretending to be perfect that I forget who I actually am? What happens to all of us when everyone's performing and nobody's being real? That's when I realized things were about to get really scary. So I'm trapped in this popularity contest, my brain's been messed with, and someone's making billions off my scattered thoughts. But here's where things got really scary for me and for everyone. Last month, my aunt got sick, really sick. Her doctor said she needed medicine, but she found some guy on YouTube who said doctors were just trying to make money and that herbs were better. She picked the YouTube guy over her real doctor. That's when it hit me. This isn't just about silly videos and photo likes anymore. When we stop trusting people who actually know what they're talking about, people can die. But here's what really messed me up. I got why my aunt did it. After years of getting my facts from random posts and viral videos, I started thinking my opinion was just as good as anyone else's. The internet told me I could figure things out myself, so I tried. And guess what? I found proof for whatever I already believed. The computer made sure of that. Here's how it works. Say I want to learn about something like vaccines, but the computer doesn't show me the best information. It shows me stuff that matches what I've clicked before. If I've been watching videos that say vaccines are bad, it shows me more vaccines are bad videos. If I think vaccines are good, it shows me more vaccines are good videos. Either way, I end up in a bubble where everyone agrees with me. And in that bubble, it starts to feel like the real experts, people who went to school for years to study this stuff, are either dumb or lying. The apps love this, by the way. Fighting gets clicks. Angry posts get shares. Mom destroys doctor with shocking truth gets way more views than doctors share boring medical facts. So the computer pushes the fighting stuff, the angry stuff, the stuff that makes me stop trusting boring old experts and start trusting exciting new truth tellers instead. But here's what really got to me. I started looking at who I was actually listening to. That YouTube guy my aunt trusted, not a real doctor. The vaccine expert I was watching, just some person with opinions. The political guy I followed, literally just a dude with a camera and strong feelings. Meanwhile, I was ignoring real doctors, real scientists, real experts who spent their whole lives learning this stuff. Why? Because they were boring. Because they used hard words. Because they said, I don't know sometimes, instead of acting like they had all the answers. The fake experts never said they might be wrong. They never said it's hard to understand. They always had simple answers to hard questions. And honestly, that felt better. It was easier to believe someone who made everything sound simple and clear. But real smart people don't work that way. Real doctors say, let me check more things first. Real scientists say, this looks right, but we need to study it more. Real experts admit when they don't know something. And in our quick answer, simple solution world, that started to sound weak, unsure, like they couldn't be trusted. So we stopped listening to people who actually knew what they were talking about and started listening to people who told us what we wanted to hear. Remember that choice I thought I was making? Between smart stuff and dumb stuff? Well, now I see it goes even deeper. The system doesn't just make me want simple, fun content. It makes me not trust anyone who tries to tell me hard, uncomfortable truths. The computer figured out that I don't want to be challenged. I want to feel right. So it gives me experts who make me feel smart and makes the real experts disappear from my feed. My aunt's story ended okay. She finally listened to her real doctor and got better. But millions of people are making huge life decisions based on fake experts, crazy theories, and information designed to keep them clicking instead of thinking. When I realized this, I had to ask myself, if everyone thinks they're an expert now, who's actually solving the real problems? Who's actually learning new things? Who's actually working on the hard, complicated stuff that doesn't make viral videos? And that's when I realized we weren't just losing our focus. We were losing something much more dangerous. So what was that something much more dangerous I was losing? It took a talk with my grandpa to figure it out, and what he told me broke my heart. He grew up during World War II. When I asked him how people back then dealt with huge, scary problems, he said something that stuck with me. We had to think hard about hard things. There was no choice. Then he looked at me and said, "But you kids today, you seem to give up the moment something gets hard." That hit me like a truck, because he was right. I started paying attention to talks around me, at work, in restaurants, even with my friends. And here's what I noticed. We don't really talk anymore. Not about anything that matters. Someone brings up climate change? Oh, that's too sad. Politics? Let's not go there. Problems in our town? Someone else will fix it. We've become people who run away from anything that requires hard thinking. Why? Because our brains have been trained to expect quick, easy, fun answers to everything. Think about how we handle problems now. Something goes wrong, we look for someone to blame in a short post. A hard issue comes up, we want a simple fix that fits in a quick video. But here's what really scared me. The biggest problems we face, things like climate change, unfairness, people fighting, they don't have simple fixes. They need the kind of deep, uncomfortable thinking that our messed up brains can't handle anymore. So what happens? We just don't deal with them. We scroll past, we change the subject, we wait for someone else to figure it out. I saw this at my job too. My boss asked our team to solve a problem that had been going on for months. But instead of actually thinking it through, everyone just started throwing out quick fixes. Band-aid solutions. Anything to avoid the hard work of actually understanding what was wrong. And when those quick fixes didn't work, we blamed each other instead of saying we hadn't really tried. This is what happens when a whole group of people gets trained to expect instant everything. We lose the ability to sit with hard stuff, to work through confusing things, to accept that some things take time to understand. Remember how I used to check my phone every few minutes? Well, now I was checking out of real life every few minutes. Whenever life got hard or boring or confusing, I'd just escape into my apps where everything was simple and fast and made me feel good. But real life isn't like that. Real friendships take work. Real problems take time. Real solutions need patience and thinking, and sometimes saying you don't know everything. The scary part? I started seeing this everywhere. Politicians stopped giving real solutions and started giving short, catchy phrases. News stopped explaining hard stories and started giving quick opinions. Even my friends stopped having real talks and just started sharing funny pictures. We were all becoming shallow together. And the saddest part? We started to think this was normal. That deep thinking was boring. That hard problems were someone else's job. That if something couldn't be explained in a post, it probably wasn't worth knowing. So that choice I thought I was making between silly videos and learning, it wasn't just about what I watched. It was about what kind of person I was becoming. What kind of world we were all creating. A world that could handle fun stuff but not learning. Anger but not understanding. Quick fixes but not real solutions. I realized we weren't just losing our ability to focus on one video. We were losing our ability to focus on the future, on each other, on the things that actually matter. And while we were all scrolling and clicking and getting dumber together, who was solving the real problems? Who was doing the hard thinking? Who was working on the stuff that might actually save us? Because here's what really kept me up at night. If we can't think deeply anymore, how are we supposed to fix anything that actually matters? That's when I realized I had to make a choice. A real choice this time. So remember that breakfast photo I was obsessed with? The one I checked 30 times for likes? Well, yesterday I posted another breakfast photo, but this time something was different. I posted it, closed the app, and didn't check back for 6 hours. Why? Because now I understand the game. And once you see the game, you can choose not to play. Here's what changed for me. That choice I thought I was making between silly videos and learning, it was never really about the videos. It was about whether I wanted to stay a player in someone else's game or become the writer of my own story. See, those tech companies spent billions figuring out how to make me addicted, distracted, and shallow. But they made one big mistake. They thought I'd never figure out what they were doing. Well, surprise, I figured it out. And so did you. Now I know that every buzz from my phone is designed to steal my focus. Every app is built to keep me scrolling. Every like is made to make me want more approval from strangers. But here's the amazing thing about knowing stuff. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. I can't unsee the tricks anymore. I can't unfeel how empty it was to chase digital hearts. I can't unknow that my scattered thoughts were making someone else rich while making me sad. So I started making different choices, small ones at first. When my phone buzzed during a talk with my friend, I left it face down. When I wanted to check social media, I asked myself, am I looking for real connection or just wanting people to like me? When I saw a headline designed to make me mad, I stopped and asked, is this helping me understand the world Or just making me angry for no reason? The crazy thing? These tiny choices started adding up. My talks with friends got deeper. My focus got stronger. I started reading real books again, and actually finishing them. I began having my own thoughts instead of just reacting to other people's thoughts. I even started trusting real smart people again. Not because they told me what I wanted to hear, but because they said, "I don't know," when they didn't know something. Because they showed how they figured things out. Because they cared more about being right than being popular. And here's what really blew my mind. When I stopped looking for shallow approval online, I started building real success offline. Real skills, real friendships, real knowledge. Remember that important email I never wrote because I got lost watching serial ranking videos? I finally wrote it. And you know what? It led to the best job opportunity of my life. Turns out, deep work gets deep results. Who knew? But the most important thing I learned? This isn't just about me. Every time I choose deep stuff over shallow stuff, I'm not just changing my own life. I'm changing what people want. I'm telling the computer, I want real stuff, not just fun distractions. And when millions of people start making that choice, the whole system has to change. See, those companies need our attention to survive, but they need our shallow attention to make money. The moment we start asking for depth, quality, and truth instead of just entertainment and anger, they have to give it to us. We have more power than we think. Every click is like a vote. Every scroll is a choice. Every minute we pay attention is a decision about what kind of world we want to live in. So that question I started with, why do we choose dumb stuff when we can learn anything? Well, now I know the answer. We don't choose dumb stuff. We never did. We just were never given a real choice. But now we know the game exists. We know how it works. We know who gets rich when we stay shallow and distracted. And knowing that gives us something they never wanted us to have. The power to choose depth. The power to think clearly. The power to build something better. The choice between cat videos and smart stuff was never really about what we watched. It was about who gets to control your mind, them or you. So what's it going to be? So remember at the beginning when I asked why our culture seems to love shallow stuff and hate deep thinking? Well, turns out I was asking the wrong question. The truth is, our culture didn't just naturally end up this way. Smart people in expensive suits figured out they could make billions by keeping us shallow, distracted, and constantly wanting approval. Those viral videos that make you feel dumb, they're supposed to. Those influencers who seem perfect but say nothing important, that's the point. All that angry, dramatic content that you can't stop watching, it's designed to hook you. You just discovered the trick behind it all, and now everything changes. Every time your phone lights up, every time something trends, every time a video goes viral, you'll know someone decided you should see that. Someone chose what would grab your attention. But here's what's really cool. Now that you know it's a game, you get to decide if you want to keep playing. Every time you scroll, you're basically voting for what kind of world you want. Every click tells them what you actually care about. And guess what? This same setup is everywhere. The way politics works, how school is set up, even how you're supposed to think about being successful, it's all systems pretending to give you choices. Here's something wild to think about. If someone else has been making your choices your whole life, who were you really? And now that you can see what's happening, who do you want to become? Just sit with that for a second. Look how different everything seems now compared to when we started. If you made it this far, you're ready to see the world differently. You're ready to spot the games instead of just playing them. Because once your eyes are open to one trick, you start noticing all of them. We've come full circle, but now the real adventure begins.